Now, let me give you some background information. I'm back on. We give you some background information. The father, Greg, used to work for the prosecutor's office, and the for many years as an investigator. So he automatically thought, well, you know what? I got the hookup. I know the prosecutor. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna look out for me. But that wasn't the case. Okay, let's be for real about that. This was not no. Let me turn the other way kind of case. And she did. She played it off like, well, kept postponing it, not wanting to investigate it, doing various things that were illegal, and hoping that it was gonna go away. That's that just us, that hookup. Let's, we're gonna do it this way. And what you have to understand is, for so long, Breonna Taylor, those people have not come to justice yet. I love the statue. I love it. It's beautiful. But we want to see those individuals that came in there and took her life on trial. We don't want no statutes. What about the hundreds of other black people who have been killed by police, or other individuals who have not gone to trial? And so this prosecutor probably figured, oh, it'll go away. You know what I'm saying? It's going to go away. Give it a couple days. Let me put this, I'm going to take this file and put it on the other side. And it didn't. And then she was, talking to him. How you supposed to be talking to somebody who that's being charged with a crime? You can be like, look, because of my situation, I can pray for you, but, if I knew that there would be a conflict, she should immediately pass it off. She playing games with this. In the meantime, there could have been evidence that could have been lost, destroyed, not properly done, because he was a prior investigator. And let me explain so you all will understand what that means. In the prosecutor's office, they have investigators that they send out. They're like their mini police department. So he was a prior investigator. So he knew what was going on, He knew the prosecutor. They probably was on a first name basis. They cool and everything. Me and my son. Don't worry about it, Greg. I give you the nod, the just us. And it didn't work out that way. And as the pressure was mounting, she was playing games with that file. Such that the FBI indicted her for misconduct in office. What is misconduct in office? Basically, when you were supposed to do something and you fail to do it. And as a result, it's a common law crime called misconduct in office. But everybody been getting away with it. Everybody been getting away with not prosecuting people who kill black people. That was the tide we were riding. For the last 4 years prior to Biden, we were riding that tide. George Floyd, because that went viral. But other than that, look at all of the people who had black men and women who had been shot or killed by police, and when nobody doing nothing about it, because that's just what we was doing. Trump was pardoning all his boys. The minute they indict them or get convicted, he pardoned them. So it was just us, not justice, just us. J-U-S-T, us, U-S. That's what that was. And so she assumed that she could play games with this case as well. She was wrong. But let's talk about this. Let me say this to you. Then when he get to trial, the defense attorney is going to be trying to talk about them ministers. Leave praying men and women alone, because let me tell you something. you coming up against a force you don't know nothing about. When they was chastising Al Sharpton, I believe, for wanting to be in there, and we tired of these ministers parading in here. Let me tell you something. You got don't play with that. Many years ago, let me tell you, I had my colleague had a case, and the boy had fingerprints, eyewitness, and video. And there were these women, they were clad in white, and they were with him. And I was like, oh, they look like witnesses or something, you know, from the Bible. I said, they're going to need that because they got him dead to center. I asked my colleague about 5 months later what happened in that case. She said, girl, that case got dismissed. I said, huh? Witnesses didn't come, evidence, the witnesses didn't come, the video malfunction, a hot mess. My point being to you, when you got people praying on your behalf, baby, let me tell you something, that's a protection that man don't understand. And so when you downing and dogging these men of God, you know what I'm saying, and trying to make light of, you know, they parading in here like they are, baby, you got to be careful with stuff like that. You got to be careful with stuff like that. Because I've seen things that in the law, the mortal side, that should have gone one way, they ended up going another way. Because you had people that was praying for a positive outcome for their loved one who was on trial, and it worked out that way. I done seen that. Doris, you seen that? Doris Collins says, I am a witness. I done seen stuff like, huh? I've seen cases that I knew was a no-brainer. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be their sentence day. Jury come back not guilty. And I done seen families praying. I done seen them, and baby, somehow it turned it all the way around. I remember one case, a guy said, he was a defense attorney. He said they was meeting with me, praying with me and everything. And I don't think that he was too much about that, but the witness said one word, and. One word. He drove a Mack truck through that. It was a statement that was made. He said, and this. Baby, he drove a Mack truck through it. It was a manslaughter. Boy got not guilty off of one word, and. But let me say this to you. I done seen prayer turn some things around. I've seen prayer heal people who I knew they were supposed to be laying in that ground. And I've seen prayer keep people from the penitentiary. I done seen it with my own eyeballs. And I've seen prayer send people to the penitentiary that I didn't think was going to work. So when you start talking about a praying man or woman of God, don't mess with that, because that's something you don't know about. And I've seen firsthand. Like I said, I have seen it where I just knew it was a slam dunk, and all of a sudden from the prosecution, all hell started breaking loose. This came up missing. They couldn't locate this witness. This one recanted, said something. I'm like, what in the world? They like, but when we started, we thought it was a slam dunk. So then you had that. But more importantly, you had people who thought that they had privilege, white privilege. I didn't really think he was going to steal, but I wanted to make sure. You think you're going to say what in the hell you want to say? And the central to that defense is that you had to have a reasonable belief that that person was stealing. But you felt so comfortable. I didn't really think so. What? Because you felt they weren't going to do nothing. Because I'm Greg, the prior investigator that got to hook up with the prosecutor, and I know everybody. And maybe he was a good guy. But on this day he wasn't. Maybe he was a nice fellow. But on this day he wasn't. He thought he could get away with murder. He actually thought he would get away with murder, him and his boy, because he had been in that prosecutor's office so long. He's seen things like I seen. And he thought he was going to be able to talk his way out of it. You know, that good old boy thing. It didn't work out that way. And as a result, the judge did what was necessary. Life without parole. What is life without parole? You do not come up for parole. Parole is not an option. The only way that you can be set free is that your conviction has to be overturned, or you have to get a pardon from the governor, which in these two situations doesn't look like it. So other than that, they will die in prison. The way that they will leave is in a body bag. And the thing about it is that Travis, the son, he's 35 years old. That's a death sentence. When a person is given life without parole, that's a death sentence. You are alive, but you the living dead. You will never get out of prison. Then they make you what they call you a lifer. Now Rhodey, on the other hand, has parolable life. So what does that mean? That means that after a certain period of time, he will come before the parole board and they can determine if they will let him out. I believe it's 15 years that he then can come up for parole. But that's not necessarily a guarantee that that will happen. But at least you got an opportunity. Whereas Greg and Travis, they don't have no opportunity. But one of the things I want to talk to you, talking about that too, is what's going on in Oxford. But here's the music. We'll be back. Vonda's Court Unfiltered.